Okay, hello to all. We are going to be studying today Hilchot Shabbat, Perek Asiri. We're continuing in the description of the 39 Avot Melachot that we started speaking about in the 7th chapter. This chapter, it starts with the Melachot of Keshira until Seda, tying, until hunting. Halacha Aleph. הקושר קשר של הקיימה והוא מעשה אומן, חייב, כגון קשר הגמלים וקשר הספנים וקשרי רסועות מנעל וסנדל שקושרין הרסענין בשעת עשייתן. So, somebody who ties a kesher shel kayama, and in understanding the melechet keshira, we will have to make a distinction between what's called a kesher shel kayama and a kesher shelo shel kayama. A kesher shel kayama is a tie, is a knot, which is meant to be kept an amount of time, for a while, a relatively long amount of time. A kesher that's not shel kayama is a kesher, is a tie, is a knot that is knotted and is supposed to be and can be unknotted. It's not set to specifically be tied for a long amount of time. Also, we have to understand what a ma'aseh umman is. A ma'aseh umman is something which, or more precisely, a work of a professional. So Harambam starts by saying, so hakosher kesher shel hakayama vehu ma'aseh umman. Somebody who does a kesher shel hakayama, not that's supposed to stay for a while, a relatively long time, and a ma'aseh umman, and it's a professional style knot. Hayab does that on Shabbat, he is liable for Hilul Shabbat. Kiron, as for example, kesher gammalin, the tie, the knot the camel owners would do on the camel's noses, the kesher sapanin, and specific knots for sailors, the kishrei resuot min al sandal, also the knots that would be done to specifically create sandals and shoes. Any knot that is made to be kept in place is as we said, kesher kayama, and that is a ma'aseh uman, is a professional knot. Somebody who does the combo of those two is hayab. But hakosher kesher shel hakayama ve'eno ma'aseh uman patur. Somebody who does a kesher shel hakayama that is not a professional ma'aseh uman is patur for his thing, as we said, patur in Hilchot Shabbat. Just to refresh anybody who forgot, to refresh their memory, patur means they are not liable for punishment by the Torah, but are liable for punishment by Hachamim, and are not allowed to do this. And any knot that does not have in it, that is not a kesher shekayama and not a ma'aseh uman, as previously explained, is allowed to be tied on Shabbat lechatechila. Halacha bet kesad. How? What are we talking about? Examples. נפסקה לו רסועה וקשרها, נפסק החבל וקשרו, שקשר חבל בדלי או שקשר רסן בהמה, הרי זה פטור. So, somebody who, a knot, a rope of sorts got cut for him and he tied it. A resu'a, some sort of a leather, belt of sorts, also got cut and he tied it. Now we're talking about ties that are not professional ties, not professional knots. Tied a knot onto a bucket for carrying purposes or to stick into a well, or that he tied a leash onto an animal. These are peturim. Why? Rambam explains, and any of these types of knots, because they're unprofessional knots, they're not special knots that you need a special expertise to create. Anybody can make them. So they may be kesher shekayama, but because they don't have both the criteria that I previously mentioned, the person is only patur. וכל קשר שאינו של הקיימה עם קשרו קשר אומן, הרי זה אסור. And any קשר that is not a קשר של קיימה, but requires a special expertise to do, the tire is asur. And by asur, it would seem that he's talking about the Rabbanan, although this is not 100% clear cut. Usually when he says asur, it's the Rabbanan. Halacha Gimel. מפתחי החלוק, אף על פי שיש לו שני פתחים. וחוטא סבכה אף על פי שהוא רפוי, וסעוד מנעל וסנדל שקושרים נוטל על הרגל בשעת מלבוש. So, now he's giving us examples of knots that are completely allowed on Shabbat. So a woman may tie her robe, the knot to tie her robe. There are two knots, so they would have, for example, imagine some sort of corset, that the corset has a couple of ties to tie. So we'll example a two-knotted corset, and you need to tie them. This is what they would wear in the olden days, and you need to tie two of them. So if you tie one of them, and then the other unties it, she's going to only need to untie one in order to take it off, and then that second one will be a supposed kesher shilakayama. Nevertheless, it's mutar because both of these are they're not strong ties, they're not kesher shilakayama, and usually most people untie them. They're not meant to stay, and they don't, of course, require any special expertise. Vehute sebacha. Also, the knots on a head covering. Afal pi shehu rafui, even though even though she's afraid that the sebacha will come off, and she might tie it too. She might. The chutim of a head covering, as I said previously, and they're afraid that if now you would think that it's not mutar because when you put the sebacha, these head coverings, they would maybe rip some of the hair or pull out some of the woman's hair with them. Nevertheless, it's mutar because this is, as we previously described in the first chapter, davar she'eno mitkaven, which is mutar. Also, resu'ot min al v'sandal, also not shoes, shoelaces, etc., or sandals are mutar to tie when you wear them. Also, they would have these special sacks, leather sacks, in which they would have oil, wine. Also, these you're allowed to tie, even if they have two knots, as we previously explained with the woman's haluk. The pots, the cooking pots, had on their sides, they had rings that you would tie to the ring. You would tie a rope to both rings and pick it up, and use the rope or the string to, so to speak, hold it as a handle. So also this is mutar, even though they don't need this knot specifically, or even though that they could take out the meat from the pot without undoing the knot, and the knot might stay for a while, it still is mutar. Also, now there's when you tie a bucket, you're allowed to tie it with things that are avnet or meshicha, which are relatively thin strings, but not with a rope, because the rope is mukseh. We'll see the laws of mukseh a little later on. Thick ropes that are used to tie heavy things. Okay, that we'll see later. These things are mukseh on Shabbat. Also, animals' legs, so that they don't run away. Also, a rope that was tied onto a cow, you could use it to tie the cow to the feeding area of the cow. However, he's not, and now I forgot to mention, the cow would not always be inside the person's specific reshut. It might be outside his reshut, and then he would maybe carry the hevel, which is asur on Shabbat. So if the rope is already tied to the cattle, then you're allowed to use the rope to tie the cattle to the feeding area. Forgot the word, slips my mind. The ebus is where the cow eats its hay. and in any rope like that with cattle that you're not allowed to take out the rope from your house. You're not allowed to take a rope from your house and bring it to tie the cattle. Of course, this is asur. Let me rephrase myself. The only sur to tie or touch the rope of a cow would be because the rope is mukseh. However, if he has a rope that's not mukseh, it is not אסור. מפני שכל אלו הקשרים מעשה הדיוטין ואינו לקיימה, אלא פעם קושר ופעם מתיר, ופיכך מותר לקשור אותן לכתחילה. All these examples, it's mutar because we're not talking about a knot that's לקיימה. We're not talking about a knot that needs that requires a special expertise, and therefore these things are mutarin לכתחילה from the get-go. חותלות של תמרים ושל גרוגרות, מתיר ומפקיע וחותך ונוטל ואוכל. And חותלות of temarim, which are, one moment, I will give the precise explanation. Yes, so around the date tree, I wish I had a picture here to show on the computer. You have some, so to speak, like these large leaves that cover it, called the hotalot temarim. So also you would have the same thing for fig trees. So you're allowed to untie these hotalot from the mehila. You would have, let me explain. You would have on these date trees, right, so they would cover, let me re-explain. So they would cover the dates in these hotalot temarim, in the leaves of the tree. They would cover them. They would put the dates inside these leaves and have them tied. And you would think, oh, it's asur to untie this on Shabbat. Maybe it's a keshes kaima. Mutar also whatever fruits you have inside, figs or dates. Halacha dalet. Kol שראוי למאכל בהמה, מותר לקשור אותו בשבת. לפיכך אם נפסקה רצועת סנדלו בכרמלית נוטל גמי, לך הראוי למאכל בהמה וכורך עליו וקושר הגמי. So also anything for animals, behemot, okay, for cows, etc., cattle, you're allowed to tie with it on Shabbat. So if even a kesher shel hakayama, you would think it's asur, but because it's ra'ui lema'achal behema, you could do a kesher shel hakayama because it's why? Because it's ra'ui lema'achal behema, it is wet, it is lach, it is something that does not stay hard for a while, and therefore, even if you make a kesher shel hakayama with it, the kesher shel hakayama will not hold for too long. It'll become ruined as the food rots. So if somebody is walking in the street and suddenly his shoe gets ripped and he needs to tie it, his sandal gets ripped and he needs to tie it, he may with these things. נשמטה לו רצועת מנעל וסנדלו שנשמט לו ברגל, מותר להחזיר הרצועות במקומן ובלבד שלא יקשור. Also, if somebody's sandal which was tied in a certain way, the sandals in those days were obviously, as was clear from my previous description, were tied with like a rope. So if the rope got untied and you wanted to put them back in their place without tying any special knot, you wanted to, so to speak, keep them stable so that you can walk, you may, as long as you don't tie. הלכה העניבה מותרת, לפי שאינה מתחלפת בקשירה. לפיכך, החבל שנפסק מקבץ שני כסותיו וכורך עליו משיחה ועונב עניבה. So, in aniba, which is a type of knot, which is what we would call in English a bow tie, a bow knot, is allowed because it is not a tie that is substantial and cannot be switched. It cannot be substituted for a real knot. It is some very, very flimsy knot that could be undone, and therefore somebody who his rope got untied, he may connect the two sides of the rope with a meshiha and with another rope and tie a bow around it to make it fix the untied rope. הלכה ו' מותר לקשור קשר שאינו של הקיימה לדבר המצווה, כגון שיקשור למדוד נמת כינור שנפסקה כושרין אותה במקדש אבל לא במדינה ולא יקשן נמה לכתחילה אפילו במקדש. So you're allowed to also tie any kesher that's not lekayama for a divan mitzvah. For instance, you take you need to make a measurement with some sort of string, and you want to make a tie to you want to tie it to one spot so that you can measure till another spot. It's mutar for a divan mitzvah if it's to make some sort of measurement of divrei Torah, of shiuret of the Torah, the measurements of the halacha. Also a kinor, a violin that one of its strings got cut or got ripped in Bet HaMikdash. You're allowed to tie it because you're allowed to tie it only in Bet HaMikdash because en shebut b'mikdash. There's the law we will see later on in these laws. However, out of Bet HaMikdash or out of Yerushalayim, it is not mutar. Sorry, out of Bet HaMikdash, it is not mutar. However, lechatechila, this shouldn't be done. Halacha zayin. כל קשר שחייבים על קשרו, כך חייבים על היתרו, וכל קשר שהקושר אותו פטור, כך המתיר אותו פטור. So any kesher that we said that you are liable, you're hayav for tying it, you're also hayav for untying it, for undoing it, that you're not hayav for tying, also undoing it, that you're patur for tying, patur aval asur, of course, rabanan, asur, you're also patur for untying it. וכל קשר שמותר לקושרו, כך מותר להתירו. And any knot that we said you're allowed to untie, you're allowed to tie, you're also allowed to untie לכתחילה. הלכה ח' הפותל חבלים מן ההוסין ומן החלף ומחוטי סמר ומחוטי פשתן או חוטי שיער וכיוצא בהן, הרי זה תולדת כשר וחייב. So now we're talking about a tolada of מלאכת כשירה, in which somebody takes any type of thin strings and rolls them together to create a larger string. So if you look at any strings, you'll see that in many cases ropes, you could see this very visible in thick ropes, and could be seen in gymnasiums, etc. You see that they're made out of actually a few thinner ropes. So to do this, to create a thicker rope with a set of thinner ropes, is a tolada of keshira and is not mutar, it's hayav. ושיעורו כדי שיעמוד החבל בפתילתו בלא כשירה, שנמצאת מלאכתו מתקיימת, and the minimum shi'ur of this melacha, that it stays, that it sticks, that the melacha you did sticks and does not get undone, that the connecting of these ropes together, the forming of these ropes stays and doesn't get undone. וכן המפריד את הפתיל הרי זה תולדת מתיר בחייו הוא שלא יתכוון לקלקל בדבר ושיעורו כשיעור הפותל. Also somebody who undoes a rope, who takes a rope that's connected, that's made out of a few strings and undoes it out the inner strings of it, is also hayav, and this is of course in condition that he did not do this for the purpose of kilkul, for the purpose of just random pointless destruction. Shi'ur potel, and the shi'ur is shi'ur potel. The undoing of it is at how much to be liable for undoing. They would be liable for connecting the strings together. Halakha now in melechet tefira, sewing. Hatofir shete tefirot hayab. So somebody who sews two sews, and I'll say in a second what that is hayab. So two sews is the sticking in. You have two, okay, let me take back a step. You have two cloths, one on top of the other, and you want to connect these two cloths, okay? So imagine in your mind, a big cloth. Of course, this applies also to very small cloths, to any ripped garments that need to be paired. So you have these two cloths, one on top of the other, and you stick the needle in one time. Is what we call tefira ahat. And then you stick the needle in a second time, that is already tefira sheniya, and you're hayav. והוא שקשר ראשי החוט מכאן ומכאן כדי שתעמוד התפירה ולא תשמט. However, this is only in condition that he tied the string that he was sewing with in a manner which will allow the sew to stay, and it won't be some sort of flimsy sew that'll immediately come out. However, if he did not tie the string after sewing and did 3 sews, even if he did not tie, he is hayab. So is a stable one. Also, somebody who does what's called mitihat hut tefira, they would, in those days, they would take the sewing string, they would pull on it, they try to make it thin and usable, unknot it, make sure it's all fine and usable. This is asur on Shabbat because it's misorchet tefira, it's things that are needed to do the tefira. Kiri'ah, halachayot. Hakorea kede litpor shete tefirot, al menat litpor shete tefirot, hayab. So somebody who does a rip, who rips in order to sew 2 sews 2 times, is hayab. However, somebody who does kiri'ah just as like a mekalkel, just to destroy, to ruin, is patura. Also, somebody who rips, does kiri'ah, either because he lost a loved one, he's liable to do kiri'ah. Of course, it was in Yom Hol, or he's doing it out of anger. He is hayav because he is meyashevet hayeser hara shelo. He is causing restfulness to his yeser hara, and and this is like melechet metaken, and therefore he is hayav. Also, somebody who in a new cloth which has some sort of flimsy knots on it, this was said in Tishrav Rabbi Abraham ben Arabam explaining Salacha. They used to have in those days, in the days of the Talmud, etc., and until modern time, in new garments, they would have some sort of sew going through it to symbolize, to show that it's a new garment. And you would take this string out, this thread out, once you use the garment. Nowadays, that is, we have that in clothing tags, etc. Maybe the law would be a little different to the clothing tag, but nevertheless, they would have some sort of string in the garment, and you would rip it out. So this is also asur on Shabbat and hayab. Halacha yod aleph. המדבק ניירות או אורות בקולן של הסופרים וכיוצא בו, הרי זה תולדת תופר וחייב. Somebody who has papers and he wants to stick them together. So they used to have a special dough, a glue, a so to speak, gluey type of dough, a dough that was made as glue to stick together papers or fix books. And this and somebody who uses this to connect 2 pieces of paper or something like that is hayab. וכן המפרק ניירות דבוקין או עורות דבוקין ולא נתכוון לקלקלת בלבד, הרי זה תולדת קורע. Also, somebody who undoes these papers that are stuck one to another and was not doing this for the purpose of kilkul, it's תולדת קורע. הלכה י"ב. הבונה כלשהו hayab. Any building is hayab, and we will see soon what the definition of building is. Hayab. המשווה פני קרקע בבית, לגיא, הרי זה בונה וחייב. Somebody who straightens, flattens the ground, the earth in a house, is either adding more dirt to a certain area or taking away to flatten, is hayab. Explain that in those days the houses did not have tiles like in modern day houses, but rather they had earth, and a lot of times it was common practice to flatten the area to make it more stable and more homely. So this is all boneh and it's hayab. אחד נתן את האבן ואחד נתן את הטיט, הנותן את הטיט hayab. Who was building a wall, and just one person puts a stone, a brick to build a wall, and another person puts the cement. We have a wall. We have the beginning of the fundamentals of a wall, So this is also חייב. ובנטבח העליון אפילו העלה את האבן וניחה על גבי הטיט חייב, שהרי אין מניחין עליה הטיט, והבונה על גבי כלים פטור. And also, if somebody on the highest most part of a wall puts a brick on top of the highest cemented part of the wall, you put another brick, another row of bricks, this is hayav, even if you did not put cement on top of the bricks. Why? Let me explain. For the wall, you have two stages. The first stage is putting a brick, and the second stage is putting cement on the brick so that you can put another brick on top of that brick. So the highest point of the wall, you wouldn't need to put the cement. So if you did that, you're hayav for boneh. In any event, I'll explain. Boneh is in which you are, which you connect two pieces together, connect two objects together. And this is a very rough description of what boneh is. We take two things and transform it into something else, like in the description. So you take stones and connect them together, you make a wall. You take even in a little these toys that you have to take out of the box and build them in order to get the toy out. In order to have the toy, this would also be considered some sort of type of boneh. I'm not making pisak halacha here. However, somebody that does binyan al gabe kelim is patur, somebody who builds some sort of wall on top of dishes or on top of clothing or some sort of things that aren't done, things that aren't commonly built on top of, this is patur. Halacha yod gimel. העושה אוהל קבוע, הרי זה תולדת בונה וחייב. וכן העושה כלי אדמה כגון תנור וחבית קודם שישרפו, הרי זה תולדת בונה וחייב. So somebody who builds a tent that is meant to stay for a while, this is also תולדת בונה and חייב. Or somebody that כלי אדמה, instruments of the ground, such as a oven. In those days, you would have to we're talking keli adama is a clay clay things like a tanur or a havid, like an oven or a barrel. Just by taking the clay and molding it, you're hayav, even if you didn't stick it into the oven to make the final product. Also, somebody who takes the cheese, and in those days you would take the milk and you would stick a certain chemical in it called Renee, found inside the stomachs of kosher behemoth, of kosher cattle, and then the milk would split from the water of the milk, or for the liquids would split, and you would take away the cheese that comes out of it, and you would, so to speak, take the pieces and connect them together in order to have a block of cheese. And this is toledet boneh, and it's hayab. The minimum of this is a gerogeret. A gerogeret is a little date. Also, if you take an axe, which is the head of the axe is split from the bottom of the axe, and you connect them, this is also toledet boneh. Any connection of two counterpart pieces which need to be lodged one into another is toledet boneh and is hayab. Halacha yod dalet. העושה נקב כלשהו בלול של התרנגולים כדי שייכנס להם האור חייב משום בונה. So somebody in a chicken coop makes a hole in the wood of the chicken coop in order to allow light to spill into the chicken coop is toledet boneh and hayav. Why? Because this chicken coop, which is an alleged keli, by making the hole, you're adding to it, you're not taking away from it. Also, somebody who in those days they would have like a basement of sorts outside in an outhouse in the ground, much like the what do you call it, tornado shelters, which you see in the Midwest or Arkansas, whatever, Kansas. So they would have these in the ground, and their cover wouldn't be a door like you would think, but rather it'd be like a piece that you put on top of it to close it, to seal it. And this piece, this whatever plank of wood or metal that you would put on top of it, when you put this on top, you're sticking it in, you're sticking it back into place as a set, stable binyan, and is toledet boneh. Halachat tedvav, hasoter kol shehu hayab, v'hu shehistor al menat libnot. So any ruining of a building or something that was built is hayab. And this is only in the condition that he did this in order to build in its place. However, if he destroyed something just because it's patur, as we said, like in Mekalkelim. Also, somebody who takes down a tent that was made for kebi'ut, or took undid wood that was stuck into its counterpart piece inside a hole of sorts, to create some sort of structure. This is also soter v'hayav. Of course, he's hayav only if it's in order to do tikkun, to make something better, or to cause some positive action, and not if he's doing it just for kilkul. Halachat zayin. Hamakeh bepatish is a very interesting melacha. A lot of nafka minot in modern days context. I'll just be giving here quote that Rambam explains, but it's definitely good to pay attention here. And if anybody wants to do more ayun in these couple of halachot, it would be very helpful before entering the modern day context of what makeh bepatish is, and whatever modern day halacha book you're using for halacha lema'aseh. This definitely adds a lot to understanding the subject. Hamakeh bepatish hakaya achat hayav. So in those days they would have in the Mishkan. I mean, we said all the Lametet Melachot were derived from the Mishkan, and at least I hope that was said in the previous classes, which were not given by me. So you would have a piece of metal, and you would give it, and in order to flatten the metal, they would take a hammer, and they would hit it in order to flatten this. The word in English for this, I cannot remember the word. So anybody who does something like this is hayab. Any last action of a product which finishes its action, which causes it to be ready, okay? This is toledet makeh bepatish and is hayav. So I'll give an example. Somebody has clay. Somebody has a wooden box, and this wooden box, in order to be ready, needs to go through a last molding or a last shellacking of sorts to seal it. So this would be makeh bepatish. This isn't the ideal example that I would give. This is the example that's coming to mind. There are many better examples. Kesad, Rambam here, giving the examples himself. המנפח בכלי זכוכית ועשה בכלי סורה, אפילו מקצת הסורה והמגרד כלשהו ועושה נקב כלשהו, בין בעץ בין בבניין בין במתכת בין בכלים, הרי זה תולד המכה בפטיש וחייב. So somebody who מנפח בכלי זכוכית, when they would have melted glass, they would blow into it through a special instrument to give it its shape. That is makeh bepatish. ועשה בכלי סורה, or shaping things with a mold, sticking metal of sorts into a mold, etc. Also makeh bepatish. Even if you're sticking into a small mold, nothing, not a very large mold, this is also part of makeh bepatish. Or if you don't stick it fully into the mold, ve'megared kol shehu. Also, this goes back to the wood. You peel off the outer layer of the wood in order to smoothen it and finish the product that way. Or somebody makes a hole of sorts inside wood or in a building to make it better, to finish the product. These are all toled makeh bepatish and hayav. V'chol petach she'eno asui le'achnis u'losi en hayavin al asiyato. And any petach, any entrance or hole that is not made to stick things in and out of it, you're not hayav on its making. Halacha yod zayin. המפיס שכין בשבת כדי להרחיב פי המכה כדרך שהרופאים עושים, שהם מתכוונים ברפואה להרחיק בי המכה, הרי זה חייב משום מכה בפטיש. So in those days, the medical practice would be that if you have a blister, okay, any type of boil or blister, shahin, so we were talking about something small, like the small blisters that we have, most people see, just from getting a little burn, or something larger like a boil. Don't wish for anybody to have that. So they would make a small hole, and in order to clean the area, to keep it open, to open it in order that the liquids themselves ooze out. So this is asur, this is makeh b'patish, because this is something which requires a special expertise to do. However, if you popped it in order to take out the liquids yourself, to squeeze out the liquids, it's mutar. Just the difference here is that in the first one, you make the hole. You try to make a larger hole. You try to make some sort of escape for the liquids. That's the second one. Is you're making the hole and you're pulling out the liquids. And you're not trying to make the hole big. You're not trying to make a opening, like a surgical opening, but rather you have a small hole that you just want the liquids to come out of. So the medical stylist would be making a large opening to take out all the liquids and clean the area thoroughly. The less professional way of doing this, we would make a small hole and then the liquids, you would squeeze them out. So, and if the hole were to get big, so while you're doing this, the hole becomes big, it's mutar, because davar she'enu mitkaven, it's not something that has to necessarily happen when you're making the small hole. The big hole doesn't necessarily have to be open, and therefore it's not makeh patish, it's mutar, it's davar she'enu mitkaven. Halacha yodhet, hamisattet et ha'even kol shehu, hayav mishum makeh bepatish. So, flattening or with, smoothness to any type of stone is hayab mishum makeh bepatish. Hamisadded et ha'eben bisod ha'binyan v'tikenaha biyado v'hoshivaha b'makom ha'ra'ui laha hayav mishum makeh bepatish. So also fixing a stone into its area, and we're talking about in a building. You have a building and you stick in its and you're moving the stone to put it onto the yesod binyan, the base of the building, in order to strengthen some sort of building. And we're not talking about even a large building. We're talking about any structure. This is makeh bepatish. Halokach yabolet, and it's not boneh. You would think it's boneh, but we're talking about as the last ones being stuck into the structure. So this is more like makeh bepatish, and therefore it's hayab mishum makeh bepatish. Halokach yabolet she'al begadim biyado, kiron elu hayabolot shebichle semer hayab mishum makeh bepatish. New clothing often have little linen pieces of linen or cloth that are little like dust bunny style pieces of linen or cloth that are on the clothing. So if you take them out with your hand, this is hayab mishum makeh bepatish, because this is the finishing, the completion of the melacha. And this is only if it matters to him, if it's a meaningful action to him. However, if he does it just like as mekalkel, just like all the mekalkelim, so in those days, if you get a new garment, a lot of times the darker garments, you would have to it would have some sort of it would have some material on it that you would want to get off it. And this material, if you take it off, there's makeh bepatish, unless you're just doing it as mekalkel. Halacha yotet, melechet seda. Hasad davar shederech mino lesudato hayav. Anything that is a hunted thing that needs to be hunted, you are hayav for hunting it. For example, hayav ve'ofot v'dagim, like birds, fish, and animals, and behemot, and cattle, etc. And this is as long as he hunts them into a situation in which they do not need to be hunted anymore. And by hunting, I mean the capturing of. I don't mean hunting in the sense of shooting it with a bullet, as maybe inferred or implied from the word hunting. I'm talking about capturing. So you know what? I'll even use the word capture from now on. Kesa. How? So somebody was running after a deer and locked it in a house. So now it's in a small house, in a small confined space, which you don't need any more capturing of it. Or you did the same with the chicken into the chicken coop. the very small area, which that's it, the chicken is captured in, or the bird. Or that he pulled up a fish into a cup, into a small object. How does it hayav? Why? All these are hayavim because these are the small areas of this is a what I'll call a good type of capturing, the type of capturing which does not require any more capturing, any more sidiya after it. However, if he stuck a bird into the house and locked the house, so now it's in a house in a relatively large space, you still need to do more capturing in order to get it. Or if he caused the fish to enter a larger pool of water. Or that he ran after a deer and caused it to go into a large plain and locked the area so that the deer can't come out. He still has to do more capturing in all these situations, and therefore he's patur abal asur. Because this is not seda gemura. This is not complete capturing. Because if he wants to now retrieve these animals and get them to eat them or whatever, he would still need to do some sort of capturing action in order to take them. And therefore, somebody who's hunting a lion, I don't know why, he would not be hayav for seda until the lion is stuck into the place, into the smallest confine in which you would have it. Is the kippah of the ari, a very small area in which the lion would be stuck in, and that would be its final destination after hunting. הלכה כף, כל מקום שאם ירוס בו יגיע לחיה בשחייה אחת, או שהיו הקטלים כרובין זה לזה עד שיפול סל שנהן לאמצע כאחד, הרי זה מקום קטן. Any place in which it would take you an instantaneous leap in order to get the animal, right? Or the walls were so close that their shadows would fall one on another. This is considered what we consider a small place in regard to the melacha of sediyah. And if you caused an animal, a larger animal, to enter this, you're hayav. And any something larger than this, sticking an animal into it, causing an animal to be captured into this type of confine is not hayav, it's patur. הלכה כ"א, אחד שמונה שרסים האמורים בתורה, ואחד שאר שכסים ולמסים שיש להם בינם סידה, הסד אחד מכולן בין לצורך בין שלא לצורך, אלא לשחק בהם חייב. Any sheres, so we in Perek Het, we spoke about the sherasim, we mentioned them, there's these sherasim mentioned in the Sefer Vayikra, the koach, the lita'ah, one second, mahila, we're talking about the koach, halita'ah, ha'anaka, homet v'tinshamet, holet v'achbar v'asav, all these, and any other sherasim, any other creatures that are non-kosher creatures that crawl on their hinds, and are not kosher, whatever, etc. They also have, you're also hayav for the sidah of them, even if you capture them just to play with them. Because you wanted to capture and you capture them. Because as we said, even if you capture just to play with it, I don't want to capture it, I don't want to be captured, I just want to play with it, you're still hayav. Also, somebody who captures a sleeping or blind animal is hayav. המשלח כלבים כדי שיסודו סבאים וענבים וכיוצא בהן, וברח הסבי מפני הכלב והיה רעוד רודף אחר הסבי, או שעמד בפניו והפעילו עד שהגיע הכלב ותפס, הרי זה תולד את הסד וחייב. Somebody who uses another animal to help him capture a deer or etc., like uses a dog to run after the deer and then he catches the deer in a strategic manner, he's hayav. וכן העושה כדרך זו בעופות, also something to this regard, in this manner to birds. הלכה כ"ג, סבי שנכנס לבית ונעל אחד בפניו חייב. נעלו שיניים פטורים. So a deer which entered a house and one person locked the door, חייב. נעלו שיניים פטורים. However, if two people lock the door, close the door or cause the entrance to be locked, they are פטורים. ואין אחד יכול לנעול ונעלו שיניים, ואם אין אחד יכול they are פטורים. However, if אין אחד יכול לנעול ונעלו שיניים חייבים. However, when these two people are sitting at the entrance, causing the entrance to be closed, neither of them could do it alone, to cause the entrance to be closed alone. However, together they cause the entrance to be a sealed entrance. because this is what we, in Perek Aleph, we spoke about this. If it's a melacha that could be done only by the two people together, then it's considered a melacha for both of them. Let me just rephrase myself. We're talking about the closing of the door, not the sitting in front of. I mixed the cases. The case which we're speaking about, which we spoke about previously, was the case in which one person cannot close the door alone. If he could close it alone, he's hayav. If they both close it and they could both do it themselves, they're piturin. If they can't do it together, the closing of the door, because for instance, the barn door was a heavy door, then they are both hayavim for sediyah if it was something they could only do together. Now we're in the case of the sitting. Somebody who sits on the entrance to a house which has a deer inside it and did not fill up the entrance. And the second person sat and filled up the entrance. The second person is hayab. So if somebody sat in the entrance to some sort of barn or house in which a deer was captured and he causes the closing of the door, he's the capturing melacha. And then somebody else comes and sits next to him and doesn't really cause anything, doesn't do anything. The first person is the one who closed it. And the first person gets up. Now the second person is sitting there. Even if the first person gets up, the second person didn't do anything because he's just sitting in a place that was already a captured spot. He was sitting in the entrance, which was already covered. And he may sit in this place till the night and take the sevi if he so pleases. What is this like? It's like somebody who sits down, he locks his house, and he didn't know there was a deer in his house, and he finds a deer and it's there. Somebody who a bird enters his clothing, enters his garments, he may protect it there till the evening and take the bird to do whatever he wants with it, because he didn't do the act of melacha himself. You would think it's asur for him to keep the bird because it's like sediyah, but what happened, and therefore it's mutar. Halacha kaf dalet. Hasat sevi zaken o higero holeo katan patu. Somebody who captures a sick or old deer does not require some special expertise to capture. Does not require any special, leaping or running after a capture. Patur. Also taking an animal out of a patur. Also, somebody who captures animals that are already in his reshut, that are already under his his property. But what we mean by in his property, we're talking about they're already in their confined space, or wherever he has them in the chicken coop, and they don't require some special capturing. Therefore, he's patur because he's not running after them. He doesn't have to do any special action to catch them. Also, somebody who hunts anything, who captures anything that does not have, that its type, its species is not a capturable, huntable species, not a usually hunted species, also he's patur. הלכה כ"ה, רמסים המזיקים, כגון נחשים ועקרבים וכיוצא בהן, אף על פי שאינן ממיתין, הואיל ונושכין מותר לסעוד אותן בשבת, הוא שהתכוון לנסל מנשיכתן. כופה כלי עליהן ומקיף עליהן וכושלן כדי שלא יזוקו. So, like snakes and scorpions, even if they do not kill, even if they're not murderous animals, because they sting and they bite and they cause harm, they may be hunted on Shabbat, and this is only if his kavanah is to be saved from their bite. How does he do? What does he do? He could tie them or put a keli on top of them, put some sort of cover them with something in order that they do not cause harm to him, physical pain on Shabbat. We'll see in the next chapter, if I'm not mistaken, something else in the same thing about the Hamisha Mizikin, about 5 animals that do cause death for sure. These animals are in a different category altogether. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen.